All right, let's have a look at TSLA. So on Friday 27th, Tesla closed almost 5% down, 431.66. That's the level it closed. And here's what I'm watching for the stock going forward from here. Yes, we do still have a couple more trading sessions for the rest of the year, which is going to be 30th and 31st. Volume should be low on those weeks as well, because January 1st is going to be a fully markets closed, and then second, third, we're going to have full sessions again, and then fourth and fifth is going to be off again. But I'm expecting in general the volume to be back by January 6th, decent volume. But today, TSLA, if we take a look at the stock alone, I mean, it wasn't too low of a volume, relatively lower than its average, where it had been trading for a few weeks now. But negative close, yes, but it is not alone. Today, overall market sold off. S&P 500 was about 1% down. QQQ Nasdaq was 1.3% down. So as soon as these techs getting hit, and as soon as these techs getting tech names in a profit-taking mode, overall market is getting hit pretty hard. So you can see the heat map of the market for S&P 500, Russell 2000, Nasdaq 100, Dow Jones, all were negative today. And for Tesla, I'm going to be watching, here are the levels. So ultra short term, yes, this was all-time high breakout level, right? So back when 2022, when it was hitting those highs over $414 levels. 415, this is the level it tested a couple times right here when we had this pullback, profit taking. That's what I'm considering these moves to be. People are taking profit at these levels, and then we had a little bit of a relief bounce, and then following 2 days we sold off again, because this move right here was on a pretty relatively lower volume. So I'm still watching Tesla for some sort of a bigger pullback, maybe towards its 50-day moving average, the breakout area of $360 level, in order to possibly maybe play it to the upside. If you take a look at the option activity, which is very options driven stock, this stock, it is still competing with out there with Nvidia, where it's trying to be, I mean, it has been the most active traded stock options in the market after Nvidia. Of course, Nvidia was number one throughout the year, but 3.2 million total contracts exchanged hands in a single day. That's a lot, because if you take a look at the third largest highly options active traded options stock, it was Apple with only 1 million contracts exchanging hands. So which means if we take a look at TSLA stats alone, which means these options traders, professional, like funds who take advantage of the implied volatility. If you take a look at the historic volatility for options, you can see it's 60, but implied at the moment 71. And if you take a look at the IV rank as well, percentile, high, low, where it's been trading right now, 96%, it's very high. And if you take a look at the put to call ratio as well, for the stock going into the, these low, relatively low volume day expirations, such as December 27th and January 3rd, even those had very large volume. And a lot of funds like to take advantage of those moves when implied volatility is high, and historically, at these times, seasonality wise, up until second week of January, we're going to trade with overall lower volume. And you can see the put to call ratio even from today's action on Friday, when Tesla had 1.9 million contracts to the calls and 1.3 million puts traded. if you take a look at the deltas being, it's hard to read this much data and pinpoint what's going on in general. These may not be directional, all of them. And if you take a look at, I just glance at the deltas that are very, very low deltas, such as 0 to 20. I pay attention to it a lot. And 45% of that volume that came in today for calls, those were the ones at these very low deltas, which means they are very far outside the money calls, 45% of the volume, which means those were most likely sold. And if you take a look at the 33% of the contracts that are traded at the bid, which means those could have been sold at that price. Same thing with the puts. Almost 42% of these total 1.3 million traded this delta between 0 to 20, which means, again, it could be traders, option sellers, premium sellers who milking this name at these high elevated implied volatility levels. Because if you take a look at the stock until January 17th, which is not many days left, it is implying that it can move 60 points, 58 points up or down. Yes, Tesla's range has increased in recent weeks, but average true range for TSLA 23%. Year-to-date gains 73%. Very impressive. But if you take a look at the max pain on especially like today's expiration, which was not really large, but if you take a look at the contracts, it was pretty decent, 432. So it's pretty much made a damage on both ends. If people were extremely bullish, they lost money. If people were extremely bearish, they lost money too, because this strike right here was the maximum pain. And going forward for next week, where we're going to have only 4 trading sessions, max pain is 435. It does not mean that it's going to be pinning at these levels, but it can very certainly do, because I have talked about Tesla many times, and Tesla can stay in the range for quite some time, especially after moving pretty big. And you can see it has done it many times. It moves and chops around for at least couple weeks and burns a lot of premium both ways, to the upside and downside, before producing move to the downside or breaking out to the upside. So my support level right here, right now, I'm going to be watching these ultra short-term moving averages, such as 5-day moving average, which is moving sideways and sort of declining for the last 8 trading sessions. And 20-day moving average, this blue line right here, this is the support, 412, 413. That's the level I would be watching. But if it cracks this level, then I would watch 50-day moving average as a support. As a resistance, we have talked about this one last time, $482. So I'm going to be watching this all-time highs as a resistance area for TSLA. So this is what I'm watching basically for the rest of the year for TSLA. And I will see you guys in the next weekend for another update for TSLA. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe. See you in the next one.